I save the world.
Hello,
I
everybody.
save the world.
Thank you for being
Save
here.
the world.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to our talks and my talk. It really means a lot to me. I want to thank everybody who is listening to this talk on one of our recorded platforms, either YouTube or BitChute or Rumble. We're so happy that you have joined us. Please subscribe to whatever channel you are listening to. And that helps us keep in better communication with you, and it gives you different accesses and it gives you notifications about when new videos are put on the platform. Also, please, if you are not already, consider joining the CMC healing team. We have a wonderful healing team, 52 people who join together in prayer and healing every day. They read something inspirational that I have sent them, and then they send healing, light, and love and energy to the things that are on our healing list. Community Miracle Center has had some form of a healing list for over 30 years. So people know to turn to us when they have a healing challenge. And if you're interested at all in joining the healing team, email me and we'll start a conversation about that. No obligation to start the conversation. Okay. Title of my talk today, Power On. Power On. Okay, I have these wonderful little Bluetooth headphones. Okay, they're like this. They were actually a gift given to me by Reverend Kelly Halleck. Okay, so I have these Bluetooth headphones, and they're really good headphones, and they have the little spongy kind of earpieces, so you can like squeeze them and moist them and like put them in your ear, and they really fit nicely in your ear, and they don't fall out. And once they're in your ear, they block out all the distracting sounds of the world. And then I depress this button on the right hand side, and I hold it down for 3 seconds, and suddenly this very powerful female voice comes on and says, "Power on! Your headsets are connected." And I'm going to use that as a metaphor today. I just love that power on voice that my headsets always give me. And once the power is on, I can listen to whatever I'm listening to on my headphones. So, I actually, relate to A Course in Miracles. It was my Course in Miracles book. Notice how used my Course in Miracles book. I need new duct tape to hold it together. I relate to A Course in Miracles as a power on switch. You click that power on switch, you open A Course in Miracles book, and it's power on. Your Christ mind is connected. And you're connecting when you open up A Course in Miracles, or when you come to a Sunday gathering, or when you go to any A Course in Miracles meeting. You're connecting to divine power, to a power that's always there, but we don't always have it turned on. And of course, A Course in Miracles is telling us to turn it on, but A Course in Miracles is also, I believe, the switch itself that turns it on. And that's how I like to relate to it. And I like all the wonderful teachings in A Course in Miracles about our power. This one was read by Reverend Rudy just a few minutes ago. It says, "Through your holiness, the power of God is made manifest. Through your holiness, the power of God is made available. And there is nothing the power of God cannot do." And that's absolute power. And that power is ours to claim. We just have to turn it on. And when that power is coursing through our minds, it's just like my little headphones. It blocks out the distracting sounds of the ego world. And we can just sit in that power that can do everything. There is nothing that it cannot do. There's a lot of narratives going on right now in the collective consciousness. I'm not talking about the collective unconsciousness, the Jungian thing. I'm talking about the collective consciousness, the general conversation of the world. And, a lot of them, they maybe have some good things, but a lot of them get into the ideas of the ego. And there's a lot of defining ourselves by our limitations, or by our issues, or by our problems, or maybe by our addictions. As much as I have a lot of respect for the 12-step programs, a big part of the 12-step program is you define yourself by your problem, by your addiction. Hello, my name is Tony, and I am a whatever addict you are going to. Okay, I know how to process that, translate that, and it's okay. But I inevitably have a problem with that. I am not going to define myself by my addictions, by my problems. There's a narrative right now. People are talking about it. I'm sure many of you have heard about it. Critical race theory, CRT, and that we as a people, we as a country, need to define ourselves as systemically racist. We are a systemically racist country. The people in the country are systemically racist, and we have to accept that and come from that and realize that everything we do is tainted with generational racism. Okay, I understand why the awareness of the problem is an important thing, but I'm not going to define myself in a negative way. I'm not going to define myself as a racist. I am not a racist. I am a holy child of God. I am the Christ. That's who I am. And I apply that power, that Christ mind, to the issues that come up in my life. I expect there's going to be issues in my life, but I have the power of God at my disposal. And we just read that there is nothing that this power cannot do. The power of God flowing through us can heal all that stuff. All of it. And that's way more important than defining ourselves by those things. A spiritual teacher many years ago, Carolyn Mace, I think she's still active. She had, I listened to many of her things 20, 30 years ago. And she said, don't lead with your wounds. Don't have your wounds, your problems be the first thing that you tell people about when you meet them. Don't lead with your wounds. And and now some people want the whole country to lead with its wounds. And I'm not going to do that. And I think we should question that and look at that. I think the miracle healer is listening to a different voice. The miracle healer, through their work, through A Course in Miracles, has hit the power on button. And that power on button is blocking out the distractions of the egos. We have issues. The issues don't define us. We are God beings. Also in the reading that Reverend Rudy read, it says, you who perceive yourself as weak and frail, with futile hopes and devastating dreams, born but to die, to weep and suffer pain, hear this. All power is given you in earth and heaven. There is nothing that you cannot do. I mean, that's one of the most amazing statements. It's probably one of the most greatest declarations of power that A Course in Miracles have. And there's many things in that statement that I want to, see and focus in on. This power is given us on earth and in heaven. So a lot of people, intellectually are embracing their power, and they think they're going to experience their power when they get to reality, when they get to heaven. But that's not what this passage says. This passage says you have that power now, while you perceive yourself to be in the world, while you perceive yourself to be on the earth. You have that power. Come from that power. Lead from that power. Lead from that power. I have a graphic that I used for the Sunday program and for the announcement. I'm going to put it up you know, turn the power on. A Course in Miracles is that power button. Turn it on. It's available now. That Christed energy, that power of God, it's there for us now. Turn it on and apply it to all the issues and all the problems that you think you have. And it will be a healing influence for all of those things. I think when A Course in Miracles talks about us having all power, it's talking about it literally. This is, in my mind, it's not a metaphor. This is something literal. We have the power. If you were listening when we were doing the healing prayer and treatment, we've recently added the earthquake in Turkey and Syria, and it's a pretty devastating thing. This earthquake that has happened. The last count I heard, this was just a day ago, the count keeps rising every day. 24,000 people made their bodily transition through these earthquakes. 100,000 seriously injured. 300,000 people are homeless. And so, you look at that and you can read that and maybe don't even want to read it because it seems so overwhelming. But A Course in Miracles has turned the power on, and there is nothing our holiness cannot do. And when I read that, I see the appearance, but I go immediately to the power I have to heal all of that. I have the power to heal all of that. I declare that I am healing all of that. Every bit of courage and dedication and hard work of the people who are rescuing people, I'm in touch with that. I'm helping that. I'm helping that energy. I'm giving them that energy. That's my power. I'm the Christ. I am extending that. And there is nothing my holiness cannot do. And my holiness can heal the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. My holiness is healing the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. My holiness has healed the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. And I'm happy to come from that, to lead from that, and not lead from some negative definition or weak identity of who and what I am. If thinking about such things, upsets you and bothers you, challenge that. It's doing it because you think those things are real. They're not real. They're an appearance. They appear there. We're not supposed to deny that they appear there, but we are supposed to deny their reality. So there's an early workbook lesson that's very clear about this. It's lesson number 14, God did not create a meaningless world. And in that lesson it says, God did not create that war, so it is not real. God did not create that airplane crash, so it is not real. And then it says, God did not create that disaster. And then it says, specify the disaster. Okay, so God did not create the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. So it is not real. It's an appearance that's showing up in my dream. And I have the power to heal it, and I am healing it, and I have healed it. And I have no trouble declaring that, because that is the truth, and that is the truth that I am going to come from. Coming from truths like this, the challenge of that, Course in Miracles says something about that, of course. It says, such is the truth, at first to be but said, and then repeated many times. And next to be accepted as but partly true, with many reservations. Then to be considered seriously more and more, and finally accepted as the truth. Okay, so that's a very interesting statement. I want to think about it for a little bit. So this truth that we are all powerful, first you say it, and then you repeat it many, many times. And it's only after you have said it and declared it and repeated it many, many times, and let's stress like it's probably many, 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 many times of saying it and repeating it. It's only after you've done that many, many, many times that the truth of the words, because those words do reflect truth, that the truth of the words start registering in you. And it's only after that that you accept it just as partly true. That means you've been saying it and repeating it many, many times while you didn't believe it at all. And I just see a lot of people, unwilling to really say those things and repeat those things because they don't really believe it. But it's telling us that you're not going to believe it. But you have to keep saying it and keep coming from it. And the truth of those ideas will eventually kick in, and you'll start to believe them a little bit. Well, maybe it's true in some instances, or I can kind of see it in that situation. Oh, I can kind of see it in that. I can't see it in that situation. But that's how it works. But you have to do the practice. You have to say the words. You have to do the repetitions, because that's the only way that it's ever going to register in your mind that you're the Christ and that you have the power to heal everything. And you got to keep that power on button on so that your Christ mind is connected. Leading from the Christed being is so important. Don't lead from your wounds. One of the things that, because I'm a minister, one of the things that I've encountered is people, have been taught that churches and ministers are eventually going to ask you for money. And so the first thing they lead with is how they don't have any money. I have more conversations with people, and very early in the conversation, I get that they don't have a lot of money. And they tell me that. And, it always sort of makes me smile. And it's like, why would you lead with that? It was like, why would you want to affirm that, right off the get-go? I had to work on abundance for years. I had my own money issues, and I did a lot of reading and working with abundance. And, one of the things that really helped me, there's many things that really helped me. But one of the things that really helped me is I heard from somebody, I don't remember who it was, that you got to keep a lot of money in your wallet. You got to keep a lot of money so that every time you go to your wallet, you look, oh, I got a lot of money in there. And so I was like, how much is a lot of money? And it was like, I asked for guys, they're like a couple of $100. I had to keep, and I generally, it's probably a bad thing to declare, but I generally walk around with about $200 in my wallet. And you know what? It works. It was something that I always felt that I had a lot of money, because every time I looked at my wallet, there was a lot of money. And, some people don't want to walk around with that much money. Some people say, if I walk around with that much money, I'll just spend it. I don't know. I didn't particularly have that problem, but it always helped me really feel abundant. And, I had to declare abundance over and over. I had to repeat it. I had to repeat it before I really felt it and before it really started to manifest in my life. And I remember about, 3 or 4 years ago, I had to sit back and look at everything that I had in the bank and the properties that I own in upstate New York, and I had to really just get it. I'm wealthy. I'm wealthy now. It kind of snuck up on me. It kind of snuck up on me. But about 4 years ago, I just said, I can just honestly say I'm wealthy. Because I was. But I had to work on it. I had to work on declaring that. But, there is nothing my holiness cannot do. And, I manifested that. And that is great. Course in Miracles says, it appears at first glance that to believe such power about yourself is merely arrogant. But that is not the real reason why you don't believe it. So we have trouble declaring our power in all kinds of things. We have trouble declaring it. And we tell ourselves that it just sounds arrogant to say things like that. But the truth is, what the Course says is, we don't declare it because we're afraid of it. We're afraid of that power. We're afraid of the power that we have to manifest conditions in the world. We're afraid of the power that we have to heal the earthquake. We're afraid of the power that we have to heal our perception of lack. We're afraid of the power that we have to manifest abundance in our lives. but we just declare it. And we say it over and over again and over again until it begins to feel partly true. A lot of people are waiting for it to feel partly true before they do it. It does not work that way. You do it before it feels true. You do it because it is the truth. We are abundant beings. We are Christed beings. We walk this world with the grace of a higher order of being. There is nothing that we cannot do. Course in Miracles, this is Jesus talking, and he's talking about how he said in the Bible, I and my Father are one. And then he says, but there are still separate parts in the statement in recognition that the Father is greater. So it's I and the Father. Okay, so I and the Father together are one. And then he adds a really interesting little clarifier. He says, in the original statement, it was are of one kind. So the original statement was, I and my Father are of one kind. We and God are of the same kind. There is no attribute, no power in God that we do not have. We are of the same kind. We are not one in the sense that we were created by God and we didn't create God. God is our cause. God defines us. We don't get to define ourselves. We were defined when we were created, and we were defined as God beings. And we need to turn the power on. Turn the power of the Christ mind on by Course in Miracles, by coming here on Sunday. Turn the power of the Christ mind on. Block out those distracting sickness thoughts, lack thoughts, powerless thoughts, victim thoughts, addiction thoughts. Turn them off. Come from the power of your Christ mind. There is nothing that you cannot do. You can heal earthquakes. You can heal your sense of lack. You can heal any illness. You can do it with yourself and anybody else because you and God are of the same kind. Power on. That's my talk for today. Thank you.
Woke up my eyes to see. Woke up my head to peace. Woke up my heart to be free. Woke up our world, you and me. I've opened up my heart. I'm at the start. I save the world. I save the world. I save the world. I save